Hey there, folks. Thank you for joining me today. Today we're going to be doing a little painting tutorial of this soft vinyl toy, the Fantafrog, designed by Wonder Goblin and sculpted by Magitarius, produced for the Fantasaurs toy line. And we're going to start by cleaning the vinyl. Now, I like to do a little solvent scrub with vinyl thinner. This vinyl is from Hong Kong, and Hong Kong and Chinese vinyl, I've noticed, really requires a solvent bath to get the paint to chemically bond. If it's Japanese vinyl, you can just wash it with soap and water. But now we're going to be going in with the first spray layer of Fantafrog color, which is basically just turquoise with a little bit of green added, just a tiny bit of green. I'm going in multiple layers because it's pretty cold today, and I don't want to try, if it's cold outside, you really don't want to spray too heavy because the solvents kind of thin everything down a little bit with the temperature change. So I like to do very thin light coats, multiple coats when it's cold. You can get heavier coats when it's warmer outside, but I like to play it on the safe side. So I'm just spraying this all down. I wasn't quite happy with the vinyl color, so I wanted to do an overspray to get some highlights. And now that we've done that, we can go in with the next color, which I had originally started here with pearl white. And because, again, of how cold it is and how thin pearl white naturally is, I found that it did a lot better if I switched to silver. So I ended up finishing these off with silver. Now, the silver pigment, our Vinyl Wonder silver pigment, is a little bit heavier than pearl white. It's just a denser, heavier pigment, and so you can get by with doing less coats. And if it's cold outside and you got to do multiple coats already anyways, you want to try and minimize that. So that's why I'm going in with the silver. But what I plan to do here is, this is basically just an undercoat, an under-directional spray. I'm just kind of directionally spraying up into those areas so that I can go back and put another color on top. Now I'm going in with clear magenta, spraying the clear magenta over the pearl white or silver, whichever one you choose. And you get a really nice metallic magenta effect with that. It's just, it's a really nice effect. And this magenta is actually fluorescent too, so it glows under black light. Fun fact. But yeah, just going in there, spraying it all around. And it's easy to overspray here, so you want to make sure your PSI isn't up too high. I usually spray the clears over when I'm doing like glazing like this, I usually spray it a lower, like maybe like 15 PSI. Now I'm going in here with yellow. This is just a standard yellow, and I'm going in real light over that silver so that it's got this sort of subtle pearl white kind of effect. It's kind of hard to see on the camera here, but I'm just going in on the horns and then the directional underspray. I'm just going to do that on all of them. Now you've noticed I'm doing about, I think, 10 to 12 toys here. I don't like to paint more than 10 toys in a day. Any more than that, it's just a little bit too much. But you can get a nice groove with this amount. Especially with small toys like this, I can fit them all in my Lazy Susan. I highly recommend a little Lazy Susan turntable. And that's just a sort of what do you call it? Like a potter's bat that I put on top of it. And yeah, now we're going to go in with the eyes. Now the eyes, I had to do pearl white because I wanted them to pop. I wanted them to be a little bit brighter, the whites of the eyes to be a little bit brighter than the silver. So again, because of how cold it is, I'm having to do lots of tiny, thin little layers because I do not want it to run on me. And I also don't want it to fog up on me. You know, sometimes in the cold temperatures, the metallics can blush on you if you go in too heavy. So I'm going real light, and I'm just hitting it from all the different angles because this eye kind of bulges. So I'm getting it from the top, I'm getting it from the front, from the bottom, from the sides, and I'm just kind of getting in a little groove here where I just spin it and go. And by the time it comes back around, it's already dried. This stuff dries fast, and I can go in with the second little quick coat. Yeah, it looks like a lot of work, but you get into kind of a rhythm. And again, if I had chosen silver instead of pearl white, I wouldn't have to do so many layers. But I really wanted that bright pearl white. And now we're going to do the eye. So this is a little effect where it takes some practice. I'm using clear purple here. I'm going a low, like 15 psi, and I spray and I spray and I spray in this little circular pattern until it starts to pool. Just as it starts to pool, I pull away. You see that? And you get that nice, clean iris. So again, I'm kind of turning and just pulling back a little bit. I'm not pulling the trigger back all the way. And then it starts to pool, and you get that outer line, and then you pull away. So that's a fun trick. You know, if I recommend practicing this on this effect on a toy you haven't painted yet, just in case it doesn't work out so well, because it does take some practice to be able to do that without masking. And if you don't want to deal, if you can't do this, and this is just not working for you, and it's running and dripping and everything, you can always take a little bit of silly putty or some masking putty and put it around the eye, you know, so that you can get a nice evenly masked iris. I just don't really like messing with masks. I'm kind of lazy, and I just prefer to just go at it by hand. Now we're going to do the pupils. So I'm mixing a little bit of the black concentrate. This is our black concentrate, and I'm adding a little bit of vinyl thinner, and I'm mixing that up. I don't really like to paint right out of the jar. It's really thick, you know. Now you see that little tendril, that little it's sticking? That means there's not enough vinyl thinner in there. So I add a little bit more. I just kind of eyeball it. It depends on the temperature and everything and the humidity. Like it's all, you got to kind of feel it out. And now you see that it doesn't have the little, it's perfect. It's perfect. And now I can rest easy that I'll be able to put a pupil there, and I won't get like a little silly string kind of attaching to the end of the brush and messing up my paint job. So that's how I mix up my brushables. Just take a little of that concentrate, add a little bit of thinner to taste, and I just little dot it. I just take that brush very carefully. I kind of prop it's hard to see this, but I'm kind of propping my hand with my other hand to keep it steady because I got kind of a shaky hand. So if I just kind of steady it, I can get into a groove. All right, now the teeth. I did the same thing with the pearl white. I just kind of thinned it down until it got to the right consistency where it's not going to be too thick. And then I just kind of go in and paint the teeth. And these teeth are nice and fun to paint because they're just the right depth. Mike did such a good job sculpting these. They're just the right depth to where you can almost just run it across, but I'm I'm a little too nervous to do that, so I kind of tap it. I kind of tap those teeth, just boop 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 boop. You know, the guys in the old Japanese painters of yesteryear would have just taken a brush and just shoo, very cleanly just brushed it across and perfectly hit all the tops. And all right, so now I'm taking some pearl teal and I'm finishing it off. I'm just kind of darkening that area around the eye to kind of clean up that overspray from the pearl white that hit it. There's a lot of overspray from that pearl white eye, so I'm just cleaning it up with some pearl teal. I feel like that looks nice, and it just kind of makes that eye pop. And then it also just adds another little bit of reflective fun to it. I really like our pearl teal color. So I'm just going in there, spraying it around, getting in that groove. Again, this is the perfect number. 10 to 12, 10 to 15 toys in a row, just kind of going through. You can get into a groove like that. And there they are, out in the daylight, looking all happy. That's how you do it. That's how we paint the Fantafrog. Hope you have a wonderful day, and thanks for joining me.